Okay, I think it's a little early before, so I'm still setting this up a little bit. Okay, a little bit. And I think I have 2 more minutes. Hello to everyone who is already on. And if you have any questions, you can just put them in the chat box and I will definitely do my best to answer them. I've had a lot of questions that people are asking me, and I have a lot of answers and a lot of thoughts that I want to share. And so one of them is about getting a machine, and if you're a student, what type of machine to get. And I learned on a manual machine, like a really old machine, like from, I don't know, maybe like the 60s or something. And a lot of people before 2000 learned on those machines and graduated. So do I think that you need an expensive machine, like a machine that costs more than $1,000? Absolutely not. Like, I feel that, first of all, congratulations to everybody who's already graduated and who's working. But for others, like, core reporting has a super high dropout rate. And so why would you invest that much if you're not even sure if you're going to get as far as you need to get? So I think that if you want to start core reporting school, or maybe you've been renting a machine, or maybe you need a new machine, or I honestly, 1,000% believe that a $200 machine will get you through school. And I know there's like online classes that you do require to be able to, show your teacher that you're learning and whatever. And there are Centura 200s that will do the job. And I mean, I was like just every other student. I also wanted like a really cute machine and like a new machine. And, I had like this bulky, old looking machine. And yeah, you're right. I didn't feel good about myself about it. Like I didn't. I wanted a Wave, or what was the other one? There was something else when I was in school. There was a Centura 200, there was a Centura 400, but no, I had the manual machine. I had the ink where I had to drop the ink in, and then I had paper that took me forever to get the paper right. Thank God I don't have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, and that's another thing. I don't even think that you should be concerned with even learning your software, Case Catalyst or Eclipse or DigiCat or whatever, until you get to like 180, 200. It's like so crazy. These people know how to use Case Catalyst, but they're not even at 120 words per minute, and they might not even make it to 140 words per minute. So you just wasted your time trying to learn, this software when you're never, ever, ever going to use it if you don't graduate. And I think that the number one thing that while you're in school, until you get to 180 words per minute, is only to be about practice. Software, not the terminology, not even the punctuation. I think it should just be really focused on getting your speed up and getting your theory perfected. And what I have like an issue that I've been seeing a lot of core reporting schools. I've been to 3 different brick and mortar schools, and I went to 1 online program. My first school was Sheridan Tech, and I was there from 2007 to 2008, and I graduated from there. And then I was just basically, I wasn't happy with where I was with my career, and I felt like I was dropping a lot, and my transcripts weren't clean, and I wasn't happy because I was frustrated. I didn't feel competent. And So I tried to go to a different school to get a college degree because they also offered court reporting. That didn't work out. And I did an online program and it was okay, but I didn't have the discipline to actually do the work. So then I did something like extremely drastic. And after working for 5 years as a court reporter, I decided to move to Houston, Texas, to attend the Mark Hislingberry Court Reporting Academy, which was the best decision that I ever made in my life because I went to his theory program and I started on day one, just like people who had never even touched the machine before. And I left on the last day in May and I completely transferred my writing and now I write exactly like him. So if you're following on Instagram, all those briefs that I post are straight from his theory. This is not like my creation. I'm not some type of genius or anything like that. It is all of his like his theory, his principles. And when you learn his theory, it's very systematic. So even you didn't know how to one stroke something, the system makes it so that if you guess it, you're more likely going to guess it right. And anyway, so that really helps. And I went to, before going through all those other schools and going to like countless like workshops, seminars, conventions, webinars, I have, I know you can't see, but basically I have like every copy of the JCR since like the 90s. I got them off of eBay and I don't know, I'm obsessed. So if you're looking for old JCRs, check out eBay. You can get them usually for really cheap. I think they do have stuff online, and online, like they have like the PDFs on NCRA. I don't know if you have to be a member for that, but if you're not a member, it's definitely, I mean, number one reason I'm a member is for the magazine. I love the JCR. I love to read it. I love to like just have it in my hand and other people see that I have it. So, but like my rant about like the whole court reporting education system is, you go to class, let's say you actually go to school, okay? So you go to class and you may be in class from like 8 a.m. to maybe 2 p.m., maybe 4 p.m. And you only get taught for like 10 minutes, okay? Like in theory class, all right? Like, okay, guys, we're going to be doing, chapter 4. Okay, so, this is the lesson. And all right, here are some words, okay? And all right, let's do a little bit of dictation. Okay, now such and such, you read back. All right, you read back. Okay, great. It's already been like 20 minutes, so you guys just go and practice. And it's like, what? Like, where'd they do that at? For real? Because like, if you went to any other school and they're like, okay, guys, welcome to this medical school program. And today we're going to learn about the skeleton. And let me just name some of the bones here for you. Okay, so now you have about 4 more hours remaining in class. Why don't you just read the textbook on your own and practice on your own and learn this stuff on your own? And it's like, how, like, why am I paying you all this money for you to just teach me for like 10 minutes and then tell me to read back some stuff so the other class can see, everybody else in the class can see that your instruction wasn't that great? Because I mean, how do they even expect you to get it right? Like, how do they just think by, I mean, okay, let's just act like this, not even talk Steno. Let's just act like we're talking about learning a language, okay? Like, if they just gave you the words and just said them once, and then we're like, okay, now let me say something to you in a different language. Let me say a Spanish sentence in Spanish, and now translate it back to me. You're like, what? You only told me what that word meant once. And now you expect me to get in front of the whole class and translate it for you? I mean, that's like lunacy. But that's the exact same thing that they're doing in court reporting schools like all over America. And if there is a court reporting school that's not doing that, please let me know. And, I will definitely be sending everybody over there to go to that school. I think that as adult learners, we have a different style of learning, and especially for something that's like hands-on. So core reporting is obviously hands-on. It's like as most manual labor as you can get. And I think that in order for us to actually be able to really like learn it, it takes a lot more than just for us to be told what this is the word, this is the outline. And so like I want to start my own core reporting school next year. And I have already, it's going to be based on the Magnum Steno theory, because to me, that is like the best theory because it's just so short. And I know I'm going all over the place, but just bear with me. I'm just letting it all out. I think that if the classroom was more engaged, and that if you're in class for 4 or 6 hours, that you're actually learning for those 4 or 6 hours, and that the teacher is actually making sure that you learn. And so basically I developed and this is a big announcement, I developed a curriculum based off of the Magnum Steno theory, which is the one developed by Mark Hissenberry. And it starts off as a 3-day workshop. So it's called a speed clinic. So there's a website, stenospeedclinic.com. And basically, in this 3-day workshop, I teach the participants over 1,900 phrases and briefs. And I 1,000% guarantee you will leave that classroom that usually it'll be in a hotel, like a hotel conference room. You are going to leave that place and I guarantee, are going to know all of those briefs and phrases. And I promise you're going to see the change in your writing like within that week. The courses are normally Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I promise you by Tuesday, you're going to be like, whoa, wow, I see it. And this is unlike other workshops, meaning you're going to be on your machine. And this is not stuff that you already know, like, oh, use the conflict or meaning like the asterisk, or what's the other thing they always tell us? Finger spelling and writing out numbers and things like that. No, it's not about that at all. It is about using the most common heard phrases that we hear every single day, whether we're in school, whether we're captioning, whether we're in court, or whether we're providing CART. These are the essential phrases that make up the English language. So how it starts is I start off every single day. It's 4 hours each day. And so it's a total of 12 hours of instruction. And a lot of people are like, well, it's 12 hours. So can't we just like all do it in one day? And I'm like, I like how Mark Hissenberry, he refers to us as steno athletes, because there's so many similarities that we can draw from being a core reporter and an athlete. So if you decide to get a personal trainer because you decide to get a personal trainer and you buy 12 sessions from him or her, and you're like, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Personal Trainer, I have 12 sessions now, 12 hours with you. And I was wondering, can't we just do all 12 hours in one day? And, obviously you would never ask that, because you already know that does not even make sense. You would never try to work out 12 hours in one day. And it's like, we act like our mind isn't a muscle, So same thing. Would you try to now work out 6 hours and then one day and then 6 hours the next day? No, you probably wouldn't. Now, is 4 hours any better in 3 days? Yeah, it is. And especially with the way the speed clinic is structured, 4 hours a day is actually that's a very, very good stopping point for each of those days. And each of those days build off of one another. And what's another question that I've been asked? Oh, another question. When people are asking me like, oh, are people speaking faster, or why is it harder for me to keep up? What I realize about that is and another athlete kind of comparison is, when you're like 15 years old, you can like run really fast, right? And when you're 50, you run slower. And it's like, even though you know more about your body, you actually have more experience running and walking, and you're making better choices with your nutrition. Even with all of those advantages that you've given yourself, you're still going to run slower at 50 than you do at age 15. So that's why it's very, very, very important to start using briefs, shorthands, phrasing to be able to keep up. And yes, I do think they are talking faster. And I'm looking for the other questions. Right. So basically, if you are able to get in more words per stroke, then your fingers are naturally going to move slower. I mean, yeah, they're going to move slower, but you're going to get more words. So basically, let's say, for instance, there's the phrase, have you ever had? Before, I may have stroked that in either two strokes, like have you ever, have you would be one stroke, ever would be another stroke, had would probably be another stroke. So that's 4 strokes. And I'm sure some people can stroke that in 5. And now I can stroke, have you ever heard of, in 1 stroke. And the reason it's actually very, very easy to start incorporating this type of writing is because it's not phonetic. It is in a way, but it's really not. And what's magical about it is that it still makes sense. So for have you ever had, I use the initial V, which is SR. And I will use you for you. So have you. That makes sense, right? So have you. And ever, I use the FR with an asterisk. My asterisk turns the F into a B. So have you ever. And then I use the final D for had in phrases. And have you ever had? Okay, so have you ever heard? I would be same stuff. Have you ever? And then I use the FRMD and ever heard. Yes. So it's like things like that. So it's that principle. And then it's like, have you ever heard of? Have you ever heard of the? All of that stuff is into 1 stroke and it's all based on a system. So there isn't really that much memorization. So once you learn the system, your entire writing style will change. And the reason that most people don't have conflicts is because there are shapes. And I have done speed clinics in 2016. It was only a 1-day speed clinic. And due to popular demand, it is now a 3-day speed clinic. I do want to make it 4 days, but I understand that other people have lives, but I do think that it is an investment that pays off like immediately, because a lot of court reporters have to take time off from work so they could work at home. Okay, so there's some court reporters that they probably scope 15 pages an hour. And the reason they scope 15 pages an hour versus 30 pages an hour or 40 pages an hour or even 50, 60 pages an hour is because their writing is far from real time. So I, on average, scope probably about 45 pages an hour. And I think I'm able to do that because I get most of what is said while there. So also, which helps with my confidence as well. So when I know I didn't get something, I'm not thinking, well, maybe I didn't get it because I'm not fast enough. I think, well, I didn't get it because the witness is mumbling, or I didn't get it because it really did not compute. Really, like, it's not me, it's them, and so that helps. And when I don't have to scope using any audio because I know it's there, and I know it's there because the phrase being able to use phrases allows me to keep up. So when a court reporter has to take time off because they have to, scope their pages, that's also time that they're missing from being able to make more money. And we all get paid the same. Meaning if I do a 100-page transcript and I'm there for 2 hours and I turn in the transcript, I get paid the same exact amount of money as you do for going to a similar deposition, 2 hours and 100 pages. Now, if it takes me 2 hours to do this 100 pages, but it takes you 7 hours or 6 hours to do those 100 pages, we are getting paid the same amount of money, but one of us gets to spend more time going, either taking on another job or more time being able to spend with our family, our friends, and or being able to just have other hobbies and improve our life. And that's what I think is the most important part about being able to shorten your writing. You don't get paid more just because it took you forever to scope it, okay? Nobody cares how long you've been trying to scope it or how many times you had to press rewind to make sure you got it just right. Nobody cares. So it's really in your best interest. If you really want to make this a 6-figure career, like Forbes magazine loves to talk about, you have to be able to get as much down in the proceedings, so that way when you come home, it's just an easy edit. And that's I think really like the number one thing. And I think a lot of reporters who feel that they aren't making enough money, or they're very frustrated, it is because of their writing. Because I mean, I find it very hard to believe that somebody who's getting down everything has anything to complain about. There just isn't. There just isn't. So I actually don't see any questions. Nobody has questions? Everybody's like watching, but no questions? Oh, okay, hi. Oh yeah, the protege with the dots. I definitely wanted that one. I definitely wanted that one. I definitely wanted that one. So I have I guess just if there are no questions, I actually have a lot I can say about court reporting. So I have some tips for if you haven't practiced in a long time. And so I guess I'll be looking more at this because my notes are over here. So basically, if you haven't practiced in a long time, it's like very like, how can I put it? Like, it feels kind of, you feel good about yourself because you're like, okay, yeah, I'm finally practicing. But then you also kind of feel like bad about yourself because when you get back on your machine, you realize like, oh my gosh, like, how did I even do this? How did I even get this far? And you'll see, let's say you passed a 200 word per minute and now you're not even able to pass, like you're doing 140 word per minute and it seems like a little challenging. You're like, what? I should have been getting this 100% and I'm not. And so here are like basically some tips. Number one thing, and this is really about everything in life, is you really have to come in with a positive mindset. You have to really be your coach, not your critic. So you have to talk to yourself in a way that inspires you, that motivates you, and that makes you feel that, yes, I can do this because you can. And that's another thing, another sidetrack, but like when people think that their fingers are too slow, like trust me, if you can type on a QWERTY keyboard, you can definitely graduate from court reporting school. And I mean, especially if you're writing a short, I think it's about, was it like 40 words per minute is like, man, I wish I had the math for you guys. I wish I had the math. But once I figured out with the strokes per minute for the QWERTY keyboard, like if someone says, oh, I can type 40 words per minute, 40 words per minute, do you realize how many? Okay, so let's just say because, I actually don't have the math with me, but let's just say for sake of example, that on average words have five letters, okay? So if you could type 40 words per minute, that on a QWERTY keyboard, that means you can type 200 letters in a minute, okay? You guys see where I'm going with this? Okay, So that means your fingers were able to stroke 200 times. Okay, so your fingers move 200 times. So that means that if you were even had briefs, phrases, you would easily be going up to 240, 250 words per minute if it was a QWERTY keyboard, if it was a Steno keyboard and you were moving your fingers just as fast. So please, please, please remember that yes, you can. You can. You really, really can graduate. You just have to shorten your writing, and you have to practice in a manner that's like, that's a deliberate, a manner that's constructive. Like, I talk to a lot of court reporters every single day, and if anybody wants to reach me, I'm super accessible. My phone number is on Instagram. You can always email me. You could, honestly, I know I haven't really been going through the comments on YouTube, but you could always email me, and I will definitely answer if you do. And if a lot of us practice and we go through the motions and we're sitting down and we're just like, I'm going to write this word 10 times. And then I'll write it again another 10 times. And then now I'll move on to the next word, and I'll write the next word another 10 times. And then you wonder why, oh my gosh, I've been practicing for like 3 hours every single day and I'm still not passing any tests. I just want to give up. And I'm like, you are not practicing, okay? Because that's not what practice is. Practice is not repeating. Practice is not going over and over and over something. That's not practice. That's just like repetition, okay? That is, you did not practice. Practicing is actually looking at what you're doing and seeing what are the results of what you're doing. Now, if there's a problem with it, now you fix it. If there's not a problem with it, you see why it worked out, and then you try to duplicate that same action. Going through a list of words every single day is not what you need in order to graduate, and it is not what you need in order, first of all, it's not the definition of practice. I mean, like, again, another sports, I don't even play sports, but another like sports analogy, okay? Like, okay, so act like, okay, I'm practicing, right? I'm practicing court reporting. So let's say you're saying, okay, I'm going to practice a free throw, okay? So free throw, you stand behind the line playing basketball and you like shoot, right? And if all you did was shoot it 100 times and you didn't analyze what you were doing, okay? Analyzing meaning like read back. That would be kind of like our comparison. If you didn't do that and all you did was 100 times and you didn't even think about, hey, I actually made this basket. Why did I make this basket? Or, hey, I messed up with this basket and I totally was off. Why was I totally off about it? Until you start analyzing your writing, then you can call it a practice session. Otherwise, you're just here to just put in your homework log that, yeah, I practiced for 2 hours and here's the dictation. That is not practice. And that is why, like, nobody can honestly tell me that they've been behind their machine for 2 or 3 hours daily and they're not progressing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, that's like, again, imagine if you have to, when you're a student or when you're a court reporter, which is like a solo sport, you have to be your own coach. So same basketball example. If you were there and you had a coach who maybe was throwing the ball to you, or maybe somebody else is throwing the ball to you, and you have your coach looking at you, your coach is going to be like, wait, move your right foot a little bit left, or move, I don't know, I don't play sports, but, move your shoulder a little bit more like this, or even maybe take a deep breath before you shoot, or I don't know, look more to the left, look more to the right. There's techniques. It's not just going over and over and over and over again. So you have to be your own coach in order to progress. It's the only way, or else, you're just lying to yourself. And so anyway, so back to, if you haven't practiced in a long time, what you need to do is definitely keep the positive mindset. And you have to also realize that, yeah, you didn't practice, and that's why you are falling a little bit behind. And I mean, if it was easy, then everybody can do it. And you should actually also be thankful for that. And that's why there's a shortage, and that's why we get paid the big bucks, is because you do lose speed. And if you're not practiced, if you're not on your game, you're going to be benched. So another sport analogy. And okay. And another thing too is that when you haven't practiced in a long time, it's not just your finger speed that's kind of off, it's even your level of concentration. So your concentration skills is something that needs to be like rehoned, I guess, if that's even a word. Like you're gonna have to get used to it. Like I know when I'm totally on top of my game, I can do finger drills for about 25 minutes. And when I'm not, I could barely do finger drills for 3 minutes. And it's okay, you know, and that's fine. But what you have to understand is that you also have to be working on building up your concentration and your focus levels as well. Because if you're already not even analyzing what you're doing, and now you're not even 100% focused, your accuracy is definitely going to suffer. And once your accuracy suffers, your speed is suffering. Because even if your fingers are moving fast and you just have like a whole bunch of what I call like real-time vomit, where it's just like, it's like nonsensical, but you feel like, oh, I was typing something, I'm getting down something for everything, but nothing is actually like making sense. Like you can't tell me, oh, I'm a fast writer. No, I mean, my dog, my dog could probably hit the keys really fast too. Is that a fast writer? No. If you can't read it, you don't even act like you wrote it because it ain't there. It's just real-time vomit. So that's basically one thing. So it's okay if normally you were able to do like drills for like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, and now you could only focus for 5. Fine, that's okay. Just make that the most deliberate, most focused 5 minutes that you can have. And then it will all grow. It'll come back to you fast once you're consistent. And the next thing is that don't worry about what speed you're practicing at right now if you haven't practiced in a while. So even me, when I'm as a working court reporter, there are times that I have gone down to 140 words per minute to practice. There are times where I'm like, I hope I could get this at 170 words per minute. Working and practicing are really two different things, and it's okay. It's okay if you're a working reporter and you're practicing something at 100, and I don't think you would go down to 120, but you may go down to 120 because you know you're trying to change something in your writing. And in order to make these changes in your writing, it's absolutely not about speed. You have to be accurate first. And like, I know it's like a huge, huge debate in the community and whatever, but once you know how to do something right, you can do it fast, okay? And that's more about like my whole obsession with like neuroscience and the brain, and is like, okay, let's say for instance, if you know how to drive and you know how to turn and you know how to park and you know you can do all of those things, then you could do it much faster because you already know how to do it. Whereas if you've never driven a car before, you're only going to be wanting to go 2, 3, 4 miles per hour because you don't know how to do it. But once you know how to do it, you can do it really good. Actually, I thought about a better example, like cooking. Okay, so let's say once you know how to cook it without looking at the recipe, now you can cook it super fast. Like there are certain meals that maybe it took me about an hour to do, and now I could honestly do it within 10 minutes simply because I actually know how to do it. It's not that, okay, now I'm going to start doing it fast and then I'll get the meal right. No, I had to learn how to actually cook the meal and all that other stuff to get it right. And now I can do it super, super fast. And I think it's really the same principle behind everything that we do in life. But basically, if you are practicing slower, even though you're a working court reporter, or you just got back from school, or you had dropped out of school for a little bit and now you're back, don't even worry about it. Don't be embarrassed, because like I said, Steno is a solo sport, so nobody even knows what you're doing. Okay, and nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to know if you're practicing at 140 or if you're at 160. It's nobody's business. So it's okay. It's not really even a true reflection of what your speed is right now. It's just it's just what you're doing right now, but if you are consistent, you're going to get back up to where you used to be. And it's just like, I guess, like they say, riding a bike. Actually, it's kind of funny. I did ride a bike the other day on South Beach, and I don't even remember the last time I rode a bike. I almost fell like a few times, but then once I actually got the hang of it, I jetted down Ocean Drive. And it's the same thing with steno. So yeah, you're going to stumble a little bit if you haven't practiced in a while. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, but let yourself stumble a little bit so that you could actually get back to where you used to be. And what else? So yeah, you do dictation for yourself, and it's only for you. You're only practicing for yourself. So if somebody's like, oh, I'm at 180 and that's like your secret competition in class, like, don't feel like you need to, first of all, even for working reporters, you don't know how good somebody is. People are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm so good. I could, I never drop and I don't have to brief anything. And, everybody loves me. You have no idea, because the only court reporter sitting in that room with that court reporter is that court reporter. That's the only court reporter who really knows how good they are. So don't even like, oh, such and such says they only practice for a minute a day and, they're already at 225. Like, first of all, I don't know, people lie for the gram and for Facebook and for whatever reason. Don't even listen to that. Don't pay attention to it. The only person that matters in the steno is yourself, because you're the only person who's going to get your real time up and get your speed up. So do the dictation for yourself. Don't do the dictation so I could show off or whatever. Okay. So, but the most important part of your practice session is to be sure that you're learning something. And same thing with like that free throw analysis, like our comparison, is you've got to make sure you learn something after every session. And actually, do I have that handy? Like, basically, I do have something handy. Did not want to do that like this, but okay. This is like how I used to practice, right? Like, this would be my like hesitation list or whatever. And so I'd be like, okay, I need to learn how this word, I know it's like inverted, but you get the idea. So all I would do is I would just basically have like a list of words, right? So I don't do that anymore. Right now I have another sheet, and I'm pretty sure it's on the other side, but my other sheet actually goes through what were the hardest words for me to learn, what were the most important words for me to learn, what were the concepts that I was messing up on, and what are the fingering combinations that were causing me trouble. Because there are certain words that we know how to write, but we just can't finger them. And since we can't finger them, we mess it up or we just drop them because it's just too hard. And that is the recipe for failing test and the recipe for botched readbacks. And what's really good about focusing on concepts and the fingering combinations is it will help you with hundreds of words. Meaning, if I realize that the EX sound is throwing me off, I could just decide to learn one word, excite. Okay, excite. And you do it 20 times, excite. And then you'll probably still mess up on it next week, okay? You just will, because that's not how our brains learn, okay? It's just not. So, but once I learn, okay, excite is giving me problems, but so is express, and so is exclaim, and so is all these other EX words. Once I realize that, now it gives me the opportunity to go back into my theory book or recordings or whatever it may be, so that I could actually master that concept. So I can spend 10 to 20 minutes mastering a concept that will help me learn 300, 400, 500 words, okay? And not only learn it, like master it so that when it comes up in 225, I can like write it. you know, so that's much better than saying, okay, I'm just going to practice my hesitation list for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Practicing your hesitation list is not where it's at. Practicing your theory book is where it's at. And so I heard this story the other day where there is a goose who lays golden eggs, okay? And the father asked his son, you know, would you rather have a golden egg, or would you rather have the goose that will lay a golden egg for you every single day? And of course, the son said, obviously, I want the goose. Why would I just pick the egg? And the father said, son, you'd be surprised that how much in everyday life people will go for one egg than for going for the goose. And that is the same thing behind court reporting is and even when you practice, that either you could pick out briefs here and there, or you could actually just learn an entire system. Or when you practice, you could just learn one word that's causing you hesitation, or you could go behind that whole concept and learn all of the words that may cause you hesitation, because if that EX word caused you hesitation, more than likely every EX word will cause you hesitation. If you have the word like disaster or dissipate or distraught, if those three are causing you words, then probably any other DES word, DIS word is going to cause you problems as well. So why would you even just like sit there and waste your time and claim you're practicing when you're just learning one word, when you could spend the exact same amount of time going back to your theory book, mastering that entire concept and learning 400 words in that 10, 20 minutes than one word that you're just practicing over and over again, and you're probably not going to even get it next week. So that's what I think for if the whole golden goose thing. And since also if you're not practicing, if it's been a while and you haven't practiced, another thing is to keep your practice session shorts, because as I mentioned earlier, is your concentration is just not all there yet. And so just keep it short. I actually have a YouTube video that talks about, I think it's called Practicing with Limited Time. And it's like 5-5-5, where you do 5 minutes of finger drills, 5 minutes of dictation, and then 5 minutes of hesitation or theory practice. And that's a good starting point. And if you feel that you don't have enough time, or you're just not feeling that great about yourself or whatever, practice, do 5 minutes here and then do 5 minutes there and then do 5 minutes over there. Like, it doesn't have to be done all at once. And practicing for 5 minutes a day is better than practicing for no minutes a day. And if there's anything that you need to give up while practicing court reporting, my opinion, it would have to be dictation. And the reason I say that is the only reason to have dictation is to show you what you need to actually study and practice, not to be going over dictation over and over, or trying it, or looking for new dictation. And that was my problem when I was a student, is that I felt like, oh my gosh, I need new dictation. I need new dictation. I need new dictation. Like, why do we think that dictation is the answer? Like, dictation is not the answer. Dictation is a test. Okay. So it's like, oh, like a lot of us, we go, and I was like this as well. And you go from dictation to dictation, and you're like, oh, that's too hard. Let me go to another one. Oh, that's too hard. I don't like that one. Oh, let me go to another one. Oh, this was boring. Let me go to another one. And you're like, okay, I've already practiced for an hour. Like, you didn't practice. You went and took different tests that you chose not to complete, or you decided to fail, and you didn't learn anything. What I like about the Practice Perfect method, which is a video that I have also on ladysteno.com or on YouTube, is once you start practicing and you see that you make an error or you hesitate, you try to figure out, why did I hesitate? Or what's the error? and you actually analyze your notes. You stop that dictation once you come across that error. And either you can practice it, maybe it was a lapse in your concentration abilities, or it could have been the previous word that came, or it could have been whatever reason, or it could just be something that you realize, yeah, that's not a strong suit of mine, and I have been neglecting it for a while. So you stop the dictation, and then if it's like, again, an EX word, go back to your theory book and study that EX word. That's the point of dictation. Do not feel that, oh, I need to buy this dictation, or I need to be in this program that costs $100, $200, $300 a month because they have 1,000 hours of dictation. Like, trust me, there are so many students who have gone to that program or signed up for that monthly membership or gotten all of those downloads, and they still dropped out of school, even with their $1,000 machine. Okay, that's not how you graduate. That's not. You don't even need dictation as far as I'm concerned. You could just listen to the news. You can just listen to your favorite YouTuber, try to type it. You hesitate. Oh man, why'd I hesitate when such and such said blush? Let's say you're watching a makeup video. She said blush. Why'd I hesitate? Oh, I hesitated because, that SH final ending, I always mix it up with the CH final ending. You know how we do CH FP, or we do SHRB, like the final side. And so if you realize that's what's causing you to hesitate, then you study that. And now you're going to learn a 400, 500, who knows how many words that incorporate that SH ending, all because you watched a makeup video and you realize that, hey, when they said blush, I hesitated, or I don't know how to write blush, and it works. You don't need dictation for that. And that's another thing. Like, a lot of times students are so eager while they're in theory, and I was like this too, okay? I was really like this, a lot like this. And they're in theory, and all they want to do is, oh, I want to go to speed class. I want to go to speed class. Do you think I should start focusing on my speed? Do you think I'm not really understanding my theory? But speed class is about to start next week. So, you think I should just jump in? And my answer is absolutely no. Like, stop even worrying about speed. Like, if you can't even do chapter 1 of your theory book at 225 words per minute, like, just stop right then and there. Like, that's what you should be focusing on. If you can't even do chapter 1 at 225, like, what makes you think that now you'll be able to even get to 200 with everything? Now, let's say your theory is like 50 chapters, but you can't even do chapter 1 at 225. That's the number one thing you should be concerned about. And then once you are able to do chapter 1 at 225, now go to chapter 2. Can you get that at 225? You can make your own dictation, okay? You can easily make your own dictation. Read the theory book, act like you're a teacher. And by the way, teaching is the number one way for your brain to master any concept. So get your theory book out, go, okay, chapter 2, we're learning the T sound, okay? And you're gonna go that and thought, and I don't know. I mean, all right, I'll get my theory book. This was the first theory book from the first program I ever had, and the Post-it notes are just me doing things. That's not something I did while I was in school. So what's chapter 2? All right, so chapter 2, we're going to learn final L, okay? And act like you're a teacher. Go through it. Sit down. Record yourself. Use your phone recorder. Use your webcam. It doesn't matter. Act like you're a teacher. If you want to master anything, the best way is by teaching. There is an entire actual pyramid of learning where what's the craziest thing about it is that if you look, the hardest way to learn something is actually the way that we're taught in court reporting school. And it's no wonder the dropout rate is so high. The dropout rate is so high because the way we are taught in school. Okay, so back to this. If you teach yourself, go back to your theory. Doesn't matter if you're at 140 words per minute, because if you're at 140 words per minute, I'm 100% sure that you can't even write chapter 2 at 225. So chapter 2 is very, very basic, right? No matter what theory you're in, chapter 2 is super, super basic. And so is chapter 1, and so is chapter 3. Focus on building that foundation to 225 and then move on. And so there's a lot of students that they're like, I feel like, the class is going, like they're in their like first month, right? I feel like the class, and by the way, I was one of these students, okay? So I'm really like imitating my 18-year-old self. I feel like the class is like going like really, really slow, and we're like learning like all these stupid words like sal and sell, and I want to do bigger words, and so I'm just looking ahead, and I'm just gonna start practicing ahead because that's obviously gonna make me graduate faster. No. Okay. If you feel that you practice enough for today, then yeah, that's fine. But if you feel that you practice enough to move on to the next chapter, no, you haven't. If you're in theory, you don't need to be moving on to the next chapter at all. Maybe you want to preview it so you could, keep up a little bit in class. But in reality, until you have mastered chapter 1 at 225, you don't need to move on. You don't need to be ahead of the class. You don't need to try to go to chapter 5 when everybody's still in chapter 3. And I had that problem when I was in school. And when I go back through my notes, I see that I started court reporting school in January 2007, right? And I made sure that in September 27, 2007, I was already back in chapter 1, and I had done chapter 1 at 180 words per minute. And honestly, I don't remember what speed I was at that time, but I know I wasn't at 180. That doesn't mean that I'm at 180. That means that at least I can do these words at 180. That means that I could at least do initial L at 180. That means I could hit the period at 180. And some people can't even hit the period at 225 or at 120, but they're so concerned about going up the speed. But once your fundamentals are not there, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And that's why I really think that theory is the number one thing. Theory is the number one thing that you need to practice. Dictation, you don't even need dictation. And in real world, like, okay, yes, you'll need dictation if you have to take a state test or you need to pass a test. So you'll practice at that point. But now, really, you really don't need it. You really can just listen to YouTube videos and work and see what causes you to hesitate and go see, oh, that caused me to hesitate. Let me look in my theory book. What is, I have this book is not good. I didn't even realize that this book is not good. This book is really not good. I don't think they teach this theory anymore anyway, but I know like the Magnum Steno theory is obviously the best, and their textbook is really good. And when you're looking at the table of contents, I actually have it on my computer. When you're looking through the table of contents, it has exactly, each chapter has their title, so you see exactly what you're learning in each chapter. So once you see the word, like I said, blush, then if blush caused you to hesitate, that means Spanish is going to cause you to hesitate. Same SH thing ending. And you'll just go back to that chapter. And you teach yourself, you teach it to yourself, and you say it out loud, you act like you're a teacher, and your brain will get it. And you make dictation for yourself, focusing simply on those principles, and you will get it. It's just how the brain works. Like it's science. So another, let me see if I could, I have the taxonomy. Oh, it's over here. I don't have it here. Then it's probably in the other room. But basically, it's from the Moody College of Court Reporting. They have it. They have it online about. I mean, I'm gonna look to see if I could read it, and then I could just share with you my thoughts on it. I actually think it's very, very important. I have not attended their. I haven't attended their court reporting program or anything like that. But pyramid. It's like the pyramid of learning, where it talks about like at the top. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so this is from, it's from their website, okay? And it talks about proven principles of retention for adults. But it tells you, okay, it says adults retain 10% of what they read, and they retain 20% of what they write, okay? So we can just look at that, okay? 20%, that means 2 out of 10, okay? And so you have you have 10 words, and you're practicing forever, but all you're doing is, and I'm saying practicing, and I'm using that term very, very lightly. I feel that I'm using the term practicing the way a lot of students may use the word practice, which is really, like I said, repetition. So you're only likely, if you have 10 words and all you do is just, write them straight from the copy or straight from dictation over and over again, you'll probably only remember 2 out of 10 of those. And it's just how our brain works, okay? Now, if all you did was read your theory book or just walk around with the briefs and just like read it or keep it on Post-it notes, which all of these things are good, but it's not enough, okay? So if all you did was like write a brief on your machine and you're like, oh, I'm totally gonna remember this. No, you're probably not. There's a 10% chance that you will, okay? So then now it says you'll remember 50% of what you see, hear, and write. So it says students will remember 5 or 1/2 of the new briefs if they see and memorize the new outline and immediately use them. And what I think about that too is like when you're on these Facebook groups and they have all these like amazing briefs for words that cause you to hesitate, and so you just want to take a brief, like if you don't use them and you don't apply them and you just like, okay, I'm just going to study this word today, and you don't even touch it tomorrow or the next day, you're not going to remember it. You're just not. And so now it says for students will retain and be able to remember 9 or all 10 of their outlines if they follow these steps in learning new briefs. And so they have like a whole bunch of things about, reading through the material, noting the steno, seeing the logic, visualizing the words, reading out loud, going through the shorthand outlines with paper. And they have 9 tips. They have 9 tips. And that's definitely more helpful than just writing the words over and over again. And another thing about grabbing random briefs, you have to really ask yourself, like, wait, why do I need a brief for this word? Because even if you write something out, you'll still be able to see weaknesses in your writing because of fingering combinations or phonetic sounds. So the answer is not just grab a brief. You know what I mean? Like that's just like a quick fix. Either you need to in order for to have like to be writing short, for it to be effective, you have to have a system, and you still need to work on your weaknesses. And I guess a parallel I could draw is somebody who's like really fat, right? And they decide to get a surgery for weight loss. And so it seems like they fixed it, right? It seems like, oh, wow, that person, yeah, they got a brief for this. So now they forgot that the reason I needed a brief for, Spanish, okay, so that could have been 2 words, right? 2 strokes, is really not because Spanish was hard. It was that SH, that final SH that's killing me, right? So it's the same way. You basically cover your problem with the brief, but the problem still exists. And you covered that problem for 1 word, but there's a whole bunch of words that also have that same SH ending. So Same thing. You get weight loss surgery, you lose the weight, and then you don't fix your diet, you don't fix your exercise, you don't fix your manner of thinking, and therefore you gain more weight and you become frustrated, and you probably even become unhealthier. And it was like you just had a pointless surgery. Same thing. You're practicing these briefs, you're just basically trying to fix something, but you're not really fixing it, you're just covering it up. It's like people who wear a lot of makeup, and then it's like, oh wow, you look great with all the makeup and the filters, but then once you take that thing off, they have all these pimples and scars and all of that stuff, and that's not where it's at. You got to take care of the real issues. And that's like another thing about the speed clinic is, actually this is from the first speed clinic that I did in 2016, is all the briefs and phrases that I'm teaching are all systematic. They are all straight from the Magnum Steno theory, and therefore it all makes sense. So if you're to get a brief for somewhere for the word desperate, and then you have another brief for the word destitute, they might not even make sense. Desperate might be SDP, and destitute might be ST something, and there's no pattern. Our brain works best with patterns, okay? Our brains work best when we can chunk materials together. So let's say I give you a number sequence, 1, 5, 8, 4, 9, 6, whatever. It's not going to be easy and I say, hey, read that back to me. Tell me what numbers I just said. You're not going to be able to do it. But if I say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and I'm like, hey, what numbers did I just say? Easily, your brain, it subconsciously catches the pattern, and therefore it is now able to easily tell me, read it back to me, say it back to me, 2, 4, 6, 8. And same things with chunks. If I'm like, tell me, read back this number to me, 1, 8, 7, 4, 3. And you're like, what? But if I'm like 18, 74, 3, even though that's not a pattern, these things are chunked together, and therefore it is easier for you to remember it. So that's the whole principle behind why, same thing, golden goose, or goose with the golden eggs, or just the golden egg. So that's why I really, really believe that the speed clinic is really what the entire industry needs. I think that Mark Hislingberry knows exactly what he's doing. I think the theory he has created is amazing. And I just feel like my mission on earth right now is to be able to teach every single stenographer how to write short in a way that makes sense, and in a way that it is easy. And the reason I say that it's easy is my entire approach to the entire speed clinic is I build a foundation. And a lot of people, they see his theory and they're intimidated, because first, everybody's already intimidated because it's made by, a champion. Like, oh, well, he can only write like this because he's so smart, or because he's a genius, or because he has a superpower, or whatever. Okay. So people already, and that's again what I said, people people give up, the average amount of time, what would you say is someone will give up before they actually try something? And the answer is actually less than 1. Most people give up before they even try. And if they would even simply try and have the mindset that, yes, I'm willing to learn and I can do it, this world would be completely different. I mean, people give up before they even try. And so in order to combat that whole thing, what I do is when my speed clinic, and gosh, I have, that one's all marked up. Oh, you guys are here. It's okay, right? So I start every single speed clinic with, every single day of the speed clinic actually starts with finger drills. And all these finger drills are crafted especially for the clinic. These are not random finger drills. Everything is custom. Everybody who attends the speed clinic gets their own manual. They get their own dictation. Dictation is completely customized. Everything is made exactly for the clinic. So a lot of people are just very intimidated by the speed clinic. There is a speed clinic going to be in Atlanta, June 28th to the 30th of June of this year. But there'll be one every month in different cities. And I have 2 agencies now. One of them is like a nationwide agency who's actually having me come in, and I'm going to train all their court reporters. And so I'm actually like really looking forward to that. And so basically, like, okay, so every speed clinic starts off with finger drills, and I get everybody very comfortable with the actual finger combinations. Usually every day we'll have like 6 combinations. So ones that I either find are tougher or that I find are going to like, that we'll need to focus more on. So we go through the preparations of the finger drills for about 3 to 5 minutes. And then after that, on your own, you will do your own finger drills there's handouts, and it's what I call progressive finger drills. So it's not just everything just thrown onto the paper, but it actually like builds off of it. And so it's like easier. And then after that, I will actually get into the lesson and teaching. And so now that you've already realized that, hey, I actually understand how to do these fingering combination, it actually gives you a boost of confidence, because you already know you can do it. And now once I teach it to you, then you realize, okay, actually this makes sense, and I could actually, do it. And then there's like games, and there's other practice time where you practice for like 15, 20 minutes on your own. Maximum, I think it's like here's a copy. It's going to be in color, but these are just all my notes. But this is basically like what the agenda will look like. Every day you get an agenda, and I'm still making some edits on this thing, but like in your manual, and everything is printed in color. But like, you'll have how to do it, then you have the exercises, then you have your finger drills. This is not the progressive one. This is like the next level one. But these are all finger drills just for the class. And then you have like, it's still working on these things, but left hand pronoun phrasing. And so most of us brief, I don't remember, or I can't remember, or I don't know. And that's it. Like nothing else. And when they say you don't remember, you freak out, and because you automatically probably think I don't remember, and you're probably like, oh, I wish I had a phrase for that. I wish I had a brief for that. And you end up writing that probably in 3 strokes, because that's what I would do. That's what I used to do. And so now to eliminate that entire thing, the first day of the speed clinic is actually going to teach you how to write all of those pronouns, 6 of them, in 1 stroke. So like here is another worksheet, and like this here is because for visual learners and stuff like that. So some people just getting the list of the briefs is not going to be enough. Some people want to, what's it called? Like want to see it or want to hear it or whatever. There's 7 styles of learning, and all of them will be touched upon. And so then once you understand it, since I already use what you already know, because that's another way that the brain works best, is if you use what you already know to get where you want to be, you're going to understand. Since you already do I don't know, now once I understand, once you see and you already know that you don't know is important, and then we don't know is important, they don't know is important, all of that stuff is important, right? And so that's your whole logical side of learning, and we get all into that. So then now the second part of day 1 is learning, oh man, I counted it the other day, I think it's like 30 right-hand phrase enders. So you'll be able to write, I can't feel, we don't feel. The other, this is it. He couldn't find, he didn't let them. You don't demand much. Oh, that's not a right-hand phrase ender. What else? I can't believe. I can't read. I couldn't say yes. I didn't say yes. I don't remember. I don't understand. I don't want. And when I teach want, which is the really, really cool thing about want is South Florida. Okay, South Florida, I am doing something for a private agency, and it is on the, I think it's on the 19th. But I would like to do something all 3 days for non-agencies, but I just have to get a group together. I just have to get the group together. But yeah, I will do something. And what was the other? Oh yeah, the coolest thing about the want is that, so once you learn like I don't want, you're gonna learn like I don't want to, I don't want to be, I don't want to go, I don't want to do, and all of that is in one stroke. Okay, and so there's like another way that we really learn is by playing games. And so there's like lots of like gamification is what it's called. And so we're gonna like we play different games, and obviously it's all like Steno related. Like there's this one thing here. It's like I guess it's supposed to be a surprise, but I guess you guys will know since you guys are here. So like this is like and obviously I have to, this is still going to my editor. All of these things are actually professionally designed. I have somebody who's like into education who's helping me with this. I also have a professional graphic designer. I have all of the dictation is professionally recorded. It's not me talking. Everything is professionally recorded. There is even a 5-minute dictation that I have written by somebody who actually writes novels. And she just incorporated all these phrases and made it into like a 5-minute like romance novel. And that's a dictation. So there's like a lot of like, I can't be, he didn't say, and just crammed in there. So being able to like play games and to be reading back, and the healthy competition that you have in the classroom is really what I feel that really makes this successful. And I don't have one for DC planned. I think I the only one that's set up right now for registration is for Atlanta, and that one has very limited. All of them have very limited seating. Only 6 people are allowed per clinic, and the reason that is because first of all, everybody needs to learn. Like you're not gonna leave without knowing these. Like I promise, I guarantee, I know that once you leave, you will know those 1900 phrases. It's actually kind of like close to 2000 phrases that you'll know, and without conflicts. Because like I said, a lot of them are shapes. Like, okay, if you guys want a brief lesson is there. Okay, so most of us brief, I don't remember as YOR or maybe YORM. Okay, so if you want to brief, you don't remember, the whole concept behind that is you stick to the whole having the Y, the KWR, and now you grab the T, the left hand, the T, the initial T. So now you have T, KWR. Okay, you follow? So now you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to memorize this? How am I going to remember this? Like, da 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 da. Well, that's where all the mnemonics come in, and that's where all the fun comes in. And here are some quick ways to remember that. T, when you add the letter T, that is now pointing away from you, right? So when you're doing your, like, meaning I can't, I don't remember, whatever, you're pressing those keys, KWR, those are all the ones that are closest to you, right? But now you want to bring you into it, right? So you now grab up your ring finger and you stroke the T as well as the KWR, okay? So that's why TKWR is you in these type of left-hand pronoun phrases. So now you could do you can't remember, you don't remember, you whatever, everything else, right? So now let's say, oh, well, yeah, that's cool how, the T is pointing away. There's more mnemonics than that. T is also under the number bar 2. When you are a writer or speaking, English, the second person is you. That versus when you're speaking in first person, that's I. Or third person is with the name, you like meaning omni, whatever it's called. And T, the letter T under the number 2 is second person. So that's another way to remember it. Another way to remember it is a lot of the Latin words like Spanish, French. The word you is actually two in Spanish or in French. So same concept. So TKWR. So there's more mnemonics than that. And you've already spent the first 15 minutes of the course mastering that entire fingering combination. So now you're able to get it. And so now you're going to use the same principle of the O for don't, and the A for can't, and the I for didn't. And I basically built from that. And so now, after you've gotten the I don't remember, and now you don't remember, I'm going to teach you he doesn't remember, and she doesn't remember, and we don't remember, and they don't remember. And once you get that down, then you're going to go from I can't agree, I couldn't agree, they didn't agree, they didn't arrive, they didn't receive, they didn't, like, there are so many things, and all of them, just like that whole you thing that I just showed you, all of these are going to make sense, and we take our time. Because obviously I could just give you the list of briefs and be like, all right, peace, deuce, we're out of here. And we'd be done in 5 minutes. But no, the reason that we're taking, and it's 4 hours of instruction, is because you're actually going to learn it and you're going to understand it. And my goal is that when you leave the classroom, when you leave the speed clinic, you could actually teach other court reporters this entire principle, and which is exactly also how you learn. And that's why there's a lot of, that's why there's like a lot of readback, and there's a lot of, there's going to be times where you have to go before the class and say certain mnemonics, and it's really, really helpful. And okay, New York, I don't have New York there. I will make like a list of cities that I'll go to, and now that I see, there's New York and then there's DC, I will go there. The cost is $700 for the 3 days, and you have to attend the 3 days. And trust me, when you attend those 3 days, you're gonna be like, oh man, how come your mom told you not to do 4 days? And I'm like, Mom, I know. I mean, I told my mom, Mom, I was telling another court reporter, and she was like, why? This should be like 4 days. Because if the 4th day would be about like numbers and doing all the years in one stroke and doing all your times in one stroke. But actually that one is something that I'm going to make into like a webinar. But it's 3 days, and you have to attend all 3 days. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there's 2 sessions, meaning either you can do the AM session or you can do the PM session. And I had to do that because no more than 6 people per class, no more. And I just had to make it a 2 because of the demand. So, and also it's 1,000% money back guarantee, and nobody has asked for their money back. And like, it's like so funny where I'm like, okay, like there's a point where I'm like really excited about this. There's a point, and it's like in the agenda where I'm like, okay guys, it's time for like the 10-minute break. And if anybody wants their money back, this is the time to say something. Nobody ever says anything, because this stuff is like pure gold, like golden goose, golden egg, golden chain, golden everything, like really, really, really good stuff. No, the lessons absolutely will not conflict with your theory. And the reason they're not going to conflict is because they're shapes. The same way, like the same example that I used for the I don't remember, the YOR. And now if you add the T, okay, so even though it makes sense because second person, pointing away, French, Spanish is the word to, you're able to easily remember that. It's not phonetic. So it's not going to conflict with anything that you have. And if it does, which is super rare that it will, because they're not phonetic, and most of us write phonetically, these phrases are probably more important than some like crazy medical term or something like that. So yeah, there's no conflicts. There's no conflicts. And on the third day, I take out the fear of the asterisk, and you will be able to use the asterisk for more than just using it as a delete button. You will be able to really incorporate the asterisk into your writing. However, I do recommend to get the double wide asterisk keys, but the fear will be completely removed out of asterisk. And while you use the asterisk, that's just going to give you so much more opportunity to brief so many more words. I mean, it's a freaking key. You know, it's like, okay, we're not going to use that initial S anymore because it's too hard. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Don't do that. Okay, we're going to use the asterisk. Okay, and I'm not sure who will fix up the Steno machines, or if you can just buy a key, or how to easily replace it. But there is a way to you can get your key tops changed. So I definitely highly recommend that. But yes, the third day will be all about the asterisk. And I mean, so some other phrases that you'll learn and like day 2 and stuff will be, I have most of it here. Okay, so they're what I call like interrogative pronouns. And so you're going to learn how to start phrasing with the what, like on the left-hand side, the initial side, what, which, would, should, could, did, does, who, will, what, when, where. I mean, these are all the phrases you're going to learn in day 2, okay? Like, this is one of the last pages, but everything here, you're going to learn all of these phrases in 4 hours in day 2. That's one page. That was another page. That was another page. Another page. Okay, so you're going to learn all these phrases, and the reason you need to attend day 2, you need to attend day 1 in order to attend day 2 is because everything builds off of it. So you'll learn phrases like would be, okay, could be, should be, will find, will go. And you already know find from yesterday because you did I can't find, he can't find, they didn't find. So now you say will find. And then now I'll teach you how to put will you find, okay? Really cool stuff. You know, I don't believe, okay? You all do I don't believe, right? Now I'm going to teach you how to do did you believe, what you believed, when you believed, who believed. And then you're going to be like, or you might do I don't believe, right? And I'll teach you I don't believe so. Just simply add the S. I don't believe so. I can't be. Now, if you add the S, I can't be sure, you know? What else is there? So then after that, so that's just for the first part of day 2. The second part of day 2, we're going to go back to learning more right-hand phrase enders. So I'm going to teach you these phrases about, I'm so sorry. This is day 2, lesson 1, meaning this is only the first part of the class. This is only the first part of day 2. So you're going to learn a million more phrases, not really a million more, but a lot more on right-hand phrase enders that you can build from this. So you're going to learn these, those. So then you'll put everything together. Could these, could those, would those, did these, did those. And then you're also going to learn this, that, and how to write did, do, did not, do not, did it, do it, did that, do that, did this, do this, all on the left-hand side. So you could write when you do this, when you did that, why did you not? I'm sorry. I'm looking from here. These are just like my own notes for. I basically developed the curriculum in all by myself. And for the comment about that, yeah, it's the price. It is probably the best investment you will make to change your writing. I mean, many people are paying $500 a month for school, and they're only getting 10 minutes of instruction, and they're stuck at 120, 140, 150 for months. And I'm telling you, these 3 days will change your writing. And I mean, it's a tax deduction, and it's going to make you closer to making more money faster than any other program out there. Like I said, I've been to 4 different schools. I go to the convention. I have basically every JCR since the 90s, and there's nothing on the market like this. And I don't know why. It kind of baffles me, but I mean it does take a lot of work. I mean, I've been working on this for like 2 years. And also keep in mind, there's only 6 students in the class, and you're there for 12 hours, and it's just going to change your life. You're going to see it within a week. I mean, there's 100% back guarantee. So if you feel like, oh, this is risky, whatever, once you step in, once we're on that day 1 and you finally get that, oh my gosh, that light bulb goes off or turns on, whatever you want to say, it's worth it, and even more. And I don't know how many hours I've already put in this week. I mean this year, but I've probably put in about 20, 30 hours weekly into developing this curriculum since December of this year. And you know, I could only do so much, you know, and I still work as a court reporter, so I still need to go back to work. And I'm doing the speed clinics once a month. And so when I do that, obviously I have to leave my home and all these other things, but trust me, it's worth it. I mean, part of it is a little bit selfish, because if there's not enough court reporters, I mean, I'm still in my 20s, okay? So if everybody is dropping out, everybody's messing up, all these court reporters who are getting old and they're feeling like their fingers can't move fast enough, and so they just want to retire and, you know, work as a bailiff or whatever, and there's no more work for us, I'll probably still be like 35. Excuse me, I need to get some work. I do not, you know, this is not really a transferable skill, okay? Like, it's not like, oh, yeah, I made 6 figures as a court reporter, so now I could just manage the company. No, like, the way my skills are, I'll either be a cashier, I'll be a waitress, I'll be whatever. And it's like that, like, even for interpreters. Like, my mom and I were talking about it because we were looking into if disability insurance is something that I should get. And she's like, you know, same with her. She's like, yeah, just because I'm an interpreter and I have my own business doesn't mean that now I can, you know, go over to Nordstrom and say, hey, I want to be the manager of this place. No, like we weren't trained for that. So I'm like super invested in this career because hopefully I could do it for the next 50 years. And in order to be able to do that, all of us need to get our stuff together. You know what I'm saying? People can't be dropping out left and right. You know, we can't have problems with readbacks. Like, if you don't even know how to read back, you can't even be mad at a digital court reporter because you got a steno machine, but you still can't even read back yourself. So how is an attorney going to know the difference? You know? Oh, like, so you have, if you don't want to get replaced, because the only reason we can get replaced is simply because that attorneys don't realize the difference, and it's just easier. It's so much more profitable for these agencies to send out digital court reporters. And I'm not going to go on a huge rant about that because, you know, we've already been going for a long time, but these court reporting agencies don't care if there's court reporters or not. They make more money off of digital court reporters. So don't even sit here and think for 1 second that this agency is going to fight for you. They are not. They are fighting for their money. Okay. So, and those digital court reporters are not making money. I know, because I used to be a digital court reporter. I started digital court reporting 3 weeks after I graduated high school because my mom, she's an interpreter. She went to a depot. She saw a digital and she's like, oh, my daughter can do that too. And that's the reason I got that job. So I was digital for about 1.5 years until I finished court reporting school. And I'm telling you, I know that it's low pay, and you feel bad. You feel bad because then there's like digitals who, like, these digitals know they don't know how to read back. These digitals know that they can't answer questions that an attorney may ask. They know if an attorney says, oh, can you go back to that part where such and such, or maybe they don't have even a system of keeping up with their exhibits. And digital court reporting, The straight up truth about digital court reporting is digital court reporting, you get trained for becoming a digital court reporter in about 20 minutes, 10 minutes, okay? And they give you a software. Sometimes the software is called Transcription Buddy, or I think Dictation Buddy. And another software is called For the Record, okay? So you have to be a notary, and so you could swear in the witness or whatever. And this is what digital court reporting does. This is exactly what they do. They turn on the program, which usually you can get the program free for 30 days. And if you uninstall and reinstall it again, you'll just keep getting it for free, okay? Versus, our $4,000, $5,000 software that stenographers use, okay? And then what you do is you press the record button. You press the record button and you record. And then you act like you're typing, you're like, but nothing's coming up because we all know that there's no way anybody can type that fast as people speak. So what you'll normally really do is you type 111 for like speaker number one. So you already say who speaker number one's going to be. And then so you'll put 111, and then you'll put 222 for the witness, and you'll put 333 for the other witness. And then you act like you're typing for anything else. But the most important part is getting the speaker designation, because once you get the speaker designation, the court reporting firm, which I'm not saying all firms do this, but I'm not saying anything, okay, is send that audio file over to Nigeria, over to India, over to the Philippines, and then the person in the Philippines or in Bangladesh or whatever is typing up for less than $5 an hour of work. Because I mean, if you're trying to type everything somebody says, it might take you an hour to even do 10 minutes of audio. They pay $5 an hour for actual listening time, the actual audio. So if they send you an audio file that's 1 hour long, okay, so it might come out to 50 pages or 40 pages, you'll still get paid $5, okay? And then these agencies are still going to charge the attorney a court reporting rate. So they're going to say, okay, normally we charge $5 a page, okay? And even though they just sent that file over to, the Philippines and only paid somebody $5, they're going to charge the attorney 5 times 40 pages, right? That's $200, okay? So now this court reporting agency is pocketing I don't even know what's up with my math today, $195, okay? And now let's say the other side orders a copy, and that other side, the copy is $4 per page. So they invoice that attorney $160. Then that court reporting agency will now again pocket that $160. And another thing that I found out is a lot of these agencies are charging the same exact rate for a stenographer as they are a digital court reporter, except they'll pay the digital court reporter. And like I said, I know this because I did this, okay? And they'll pay the court reporter, let's say the rate, and I know, let's say the rate for court reporter appearance fee is $100 an hour, right? And usually the cut is the court reporter will get 70% and the agency will get 30%. And I mean, it's like that in so many industries. It's like in modeling, just a lot of when someone gives you a job, it's like a referral fee, okay? So they take 30%. That's normal. I've even heard 35%. That's normal, and it's okay. And when they have a digital reporter, they'll still charge the attorney $100, but they'll probably only pay the digital $40. There's a 60-40 split where the agency will get 60% and the digital will get 40%. So just doing like basic math, okay, you see that these agencies, they don't care. I mean, they don't care. I mean, they rather not have digitals because digital, it's usually messed up. The type of transcripts they get are messed up, because who wants to really sit at home and type a proceeding with 3 different speakers on their QWERTY keyboard? I mean, even if you were desperate for money, it's a job that you'd probably give up after a while, because that's like intense labor. So the type of turnaround they have over there is super, super high. So basically that's what digital court reporting is. And that's another reason why I think the only reason that they are taking over jobs, and it's not, so they're taking jobs because one, that it's more profitable for these agencies, and two, because there's not enough court reporters, and three is because attorneys are not informed. So if attorneys were informed, which I make sure I do it all the time, I'm like, one time there was a digital court reporter and there was a steno, and the attorney said, "Oh, I want you to stay," like me, the steno. And so after that, I was like, "Oh, why do you want me to stay?" And he's like, "Oh, well, last time they told my court reporter to leave, so I wanted my court reporter to stay." And I was like, "Oh, I thought it was because I'm a steno and that's a digital." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And then basically, as he was sipping his coffee in front of the courthouse, I took it upon myself to educate him. And we should be educating all these people, these attorneys as well, especially for the fact it's not even like they're getting a discount. It's like, could you imagine you go buy a Louis Vuitton purse, right? A Louis Vuitton purse for $2,000, right? And you find out that it was fake, but you paid the same exact price as a real Louis Vuitton purse. I mean, that would make me super, super, super mad. And that's what they're doing. And that's exactly what they're doing. So that's the whole thing with digitals. So I think in order to not have that happen, we need to have more graduates. But in order for us to get more graduates, we need to change the way we teach things in school. Like, people learning medical terminology at 100 words per minute, 120 words per minute, when most people drop out at 160 words per minute, that's useless. Same things. Don't buy these expensive machines. Doesn't make sense. You don't need those expensive machines. You don't need all the dictation. You don't need any software, okay? And if you really are serious about it and you're trying to save money, then you simply tell the online school, "I want to participate. I'm going to pay my membership. I don't have software. And I'm using a manual machine because I know that that's actually the best option, because most people graduate." It's like so sad when you see these people selling off their machines. I don't know if you guys are in the encouraging court reporting students, which is a great group if you're not. And if you're not on Facebook, get on Facebook, even if you make like a throwaway account or a fake account, and just call yourself like Steno Lady, or Steno DC, or Steno whatever your city is, and get involved on those groups. Those groups are absolutely phenomenal to help people. So, and I don't know if you guys have any more questions. Oh, I'm a freelancer, and I'm a freelancer pretty much because I love going to different places every single day, and I don't have to see the same faces every single day, but I could still wear the same outfit every single day, and my schedule is different, and I'm in control of my schedule, and you don't have to worry about, like, you could be like, "Okay, I'm taking off for the week," and you could easily say that. When you're an official, you cannot do that. When you're an official, you have to be at work when the judge tells you have to be at work. If you have to be at work from 9 to 5, and I've never had a 9 to 5. I started court reporting school in high school, so I've never had a job. And quite frankly, I'm unemployable. Like, I don't think I could ever hold a job. Like, if court reporting goes away, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's definitely not working 9 to 5. No, absolutely not. I just cannot. And I don't know who told you about that, about your ADHD, but that's ridiculous. Because first of all, I'll just tell you, my theory teacher told me that court reporting is that I should consider a different program because she doesn't think court reporting is right for me. So I'm not going to put her name out there, but I already told you guys what school I went to, so you guys can figure it out. And she told me that, and that did make me feel bad. And I've been diagnosed with ADHD, but when I take depositions, a lot of the world has been diagnosed with ADHD. Makes me think it's in like the water or something. Practice when they actually have ADHD. And the thing is, even though like you may feel you have ADHD or you have been diagnosed with ADHD, why is this acting like this? Is it's easy for you to still concentrate on stuff you like to do, right? Oh, I have ADHD, so I can't do my homework, but I could, play basketball for 5 hours. I have ADHD, so I'm having a hard time remembering briefs, but I could quote the entire Remember the Titans movie. Like, I don't even know really. I mean, I don't have some conspiracy theory about it, but what I wish I could find that whole thing about practicing with ADHD. But number one thing for practicing with ADHD is short practice sessions, okay? And it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So you could be sitting down practicing for an hour and getting no results, or you could practice for 5 minutes and actually get results, okay? So you can do 5 minutes and be like, okay, I'm only gonna do my finger drills, okay? And you make it fun. So you put on your favorite song. I love practicing with like EDM music because it's like boosh, 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 boosh. So it's like super fast. And so it makes my fingers move like they're dancing, and you just play mind tricks on yourself, okay? And practice for 5 minutes. I'm practicing for 5 minutes and I'm going to exactly make your disorder work for you. Exactly. So practice for 5 minutes, and then now you're feeling like, if you're already feeling like your mind is drifting, then walk away from the machine. Because if you're just now like just kind of like going through the motions, then you're not actually practicing and it's not going to help you. And what was the other thing? I know I had some other stuff about it. I wish I could find it. Let me just do a little search. No. I don't know. I don't know where it is. I have so many so many notes, and when I put ADD, it obviously it comes up as add. So all these instances where I have the word add is just is showing up, and I don't have anything for ADHD. Yeah, I don't have it. I do have something about like scoping with ADHD, but it's all on the same principle about breaking things down and just trying to just stay focused. There is a supplement that I take. Actually, I probably have it in my Steno bag, and it's called Baroka, and I love it. Like, it really helps me concentrate. So it's not here. So, but it's like in a tube. You can get it from Walgreens. I actually buy it from Amazon, and I buy like 4 tubes at a time. And it's a vitamin, and it was a vitamin, and you like it's a effervescent, and you drop it in, and it tells you it's supposed to help with like mental sharpness or mental acuity or something like that. And it really, really helps. I know there's like other supplements. I haven't tried them yet, but so ATL star. Some people, even though it's in an encouraging group, some people are not that encouraging. Some people, like, you have no idea. They're like having a bad day and they just want to like rip you apart. So I wouldn't even listen to that person. But if you're at 130, I definitely think go back to your theory. And if you can't do chapter 1 at 225, then you don't have to worry about anything else. And I'm not saying you have to get to 225 at chapter 1 before you move to chapter 2 to do 225. I'm not saying that. But I do think that if you're not writing even at 200 words per minute on chapter 1, then, and you're already in speed, you're just not going to be able to progress. So to also do chapter, work your way up like that. So cool. That's good for us to know. That's like really cool for us to know that we can focus. Like, people that have ADHD also have the ability to be hyper focused as well. So yeah, I think there's like this quote that says like, if our problems were drawn on a line, you would pick yours and I would pick mine. So it's like when you see somebody has like, oh man, that person she's able to get through school so fast, but you don't realize like the reason she's getting through school so fast is because, she's super broke. So she needs to work. Her mother is sick. Her kid is this and her kid is, whatever, like stuff like has to go to school. And then you might be like, oh, well, I wish I didn't have this problem. And that's what's slowing me down. But in reality, everybody has something that will propel us to move forward, and all of us can graduate. Like I say all the time, if you're able to type on the QWERTY keyboard, you absolutely 1000% can type on this. Like I remember I was always really good at the QWERTY keyboard, but I was like really bad at texting. Like I don't think I was able to really get into the hang of texting until like after court reporting school. And there's some people here that are like, and they're not even like looking at their phone and they're able to text. That person can graduate court reporting school. I don't even know who that person is. But if you are able to text like that and you're not even looking, if you're able to type 30 words per minute on your QWERTY keyboard, you 1000% can graduate. All you need to do is diligently practice and get a systematic way of writing. And it's not systematic if all you're doing is grabbing briefs from, the brief exchange and steno briefs for court reporters. No, that's actually going to slow you down if you don't have a system. So yeah, I took a deposition the other day. I could share this because I'm not going to share any names, but the guy was like 40 something years old, right? And they always ask this in every single deposition. They're like, oh, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol? And usually they say no. And then they're like, oh, are you taking any medications today that would interfere with your ability to give accurate testimony? And so in order to, and then the guy's like, oh, he's like, I'm taking Adderall. I was recently diagnosed, like in 2014. Homeboy is like 40 something years old. Okay. And that's like where I'm thinking, where is it really ADHD, or is the world just moving too fast? Or are we just not getting enough like nutrition, or are the demands just so high for us to keep up with? To find a system is really your theory. Your theory is your system. And if you're consistent, once you're congruent with your writing, that is a system. That's what I mean by a system. So that means every word that starts off with DES, you write it the same. Every word that starts with EX, you write the same. So, and someone said they were having problems with like STR combination, I think, or STW. In order to eliminate that, is all you have to do is finger drills. So you can do STWA question mark, STWO question mark, STWA question mark, and not to go fast, but to go accurate, if that makes any sense. Go accurate with it. And that's how you eliminate that. That's the only way you eliminate it. It's not like, oh, if I practice more dictation, or if I start reading back in class, or if I do this or do that. No. The only thing that's going to help you get rid of that ST whatever fingering combination is by diligently practicing it. You don't have to read back. You don't have to even hook up to your laptop. You could use a manual machine. Okay. I don't think I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about other like companies or whatever, but the machine is the best. If you're going to practice on something, practice on the machine. And you don't need anything else than that. If you're like going to try to do like air steno, like there's no way, even though I know it's these three fingers, like there's just no way that I'm going to be able to emulate that unless I'm on the keyboard, on the steno keyboard. So, but yeah, if you don't like your theory the same way I didn't like my theory, I didn't know that I didn't like my theory. Like what happened was, the reason I decided to go to Mark Kislingberry's school after working for 5 years is because there were people in his like online, and they were doing his theory, and they had like all these like amazing briefs and phrases, and I'm like, how the heck do they understand this or remember this? And I'm like over here trying to write everything down on a Post-it note and trying to put it all over my house, and it wasn't helping, and so just memorizing one or two is not enough. You have to get the entire system. So once you get the system, everything will work. Practicing from hard copy is actually pretty good once you know how to practice from hard copy. Like, I have something about that in there. Hard copy is actually really good practice because it'll help you stay focused. Let me see what I have here about hard copy. I know I have something about hard copy, about like how to, this is actually something from hard copy practice. And basically when you have hard copy practice, it's just the same principle as behind like the whole practice perfect method, when you stop, once you hesitate, and you analyze what causes you to hesitate. So when you're practicing from hard copy, you're able to just stay focused in on those words, and then you could easily read back, and it's not like, oh, I have to listen to it. You could easily compare your Steno notes to the hard copy material. So, oh, wow. Yeah, that is really, really tough. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I used to wonder about, like, because I was watching like this documentary yesterday about Hurricane Katrina, and I was like, I wonder how many transcripts were like lost, and like Steno machines and all this other stuff, like really, really, really like bad stuff. But I think things that put you down could also be the same things that bring you up. So you can be like, you know what, all this stuff happened to me, but I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna make it work, and I'm really gonna do that. And yeah, whatever is, like, everybody has a strength and everybody has a reason to do it. So just because such and such speaks multiple languages, or just because such and such mom is a court reporter, dad's a court reporter, sister's a court reporter, like, and none of your family graduated high school, like, you could still do this. Like, everybody can do this. This is not like brain science, or what is it called? What is the thing? Rocket science. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. Everybody can be a stenographer if they practice. If you could write your name with pen and paper, if you could type on a QWERTY keyboard, you can be a stenographer. You just need to practice deliberately with a system. Boom. So yeah, the stop comparing yourself too, because it's like when you're over here like looking at somebody else's grass and it's like all green, and you saw tending to your own bushes. That's the only time you could have been pulling your own weeds. So don't even worry about such and such, because you don't even know the truth about such and such, especially if you're on online school. Do not let these other people try to make you feel bad, because you have really no idea what they're going through, and if they're even, you don't even know. I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I don't want to get into conspiracies. But oh, and you know what's okay? So John Smith, if that's even your real name, is what's so cool is it's scientifically proven that men type faster than women. It is scientifically 1000% proven. And I think my own personal opinion is that men, once they have the proper instruction and practice, they will super excel at this in this field, because the women mind, like the feminine brain and the masculine brain, they actually operate differently. And we have some, like, people say, oh, guys have one track mind. Like, it's easier for them to focus on these things, and also their fingers move faster. And I know a lot of women are gonna hate me, and you know what, it's okay, because y'all ain't gonna date me. So men will, like, men usually are the ones that are getting the Guinness World Book of Records. They're the ones developing theories. They do really, really, really good at this stuff. And I mean, I'm just like amazed why there are not more men in this program. Like, how I try to get more men to get into the program is to tell them, like, you realize you could just sit at home and like watch ESPN all day and get paid for it. You just have to, like, type on this little keyboard thingy. And like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And I think like working full time as a captioner is like 20 hours a week and you get all these benefits. And, you know, you can just watch whatever, you know, ESPN, you just sign up, say, okay, you want to do the playoffs? All right, boom, you're signed up. You logged in and you're going to get paid for it. And you get to watch everything. And, you know, it's really, really cool. And I really feel that more men should come into this industry because they just really naturally, scientifically, they do better at it. And it is what it is. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with who was telling me that? I don't know if it was Mark Kissingberry. He was telling me he just sees Steno as like, no, it wasn't Mark Kissingberry. Who was it? It was a dude though. It was a guy. And he said he just pictures it as a video game. So as soon as the word comes, it's like the asteroids game. You gotta boom, boom. And then you just try to get it as fast as you can. And so maybe she practices differently. The girl, you said you're at, oh, I gotta scroll up. What speed did you see her? I think you said you're at 130 and she's at 170. So I think first it could, yeah, there could be some dexterity issues, but there's ways you could fix your dexterity, you know, which is simply like finger drills and okay, 140. Okay, so that's not that too far ahead. And there's some people, they're gonna get super, super fast because they have good memories, right? And then they stop. They'll plateau at like 180. Like there's this one girl that I know, she's a working court reporter right now. And this girl like zoomed all the way up to 180 from like theory, like within months. But then she was stuck at 180 for a year. So she ended up still graduating, I think within 2 years. But it took her, you know, some people, you don't know why they're going fast. Some people are able to go fast simply like you could have a weakness in your theory and it won't show up until you get to a faster speed. So let's say, you know, with the EX words, you mess up on that a lot. Or you might be lucky and there's a test and there's no EX words on there and then you pass. And that's why that's why you could pass certain 160 tests easily, but there's certain 130 tests, 120 tests that you can't pass. So some people are, you know, it just hasn't come up yet. So yeah, then if you're able to like play different instruments, especially like piano and like the like the what are those called, like wind instruments and horn instruments, then it's more of a practice issue. That's what I really, really believe. It's really just it's how you're practicing and it's your theory. Because some of these theories, like this theory over here, they wanted me to come back for like all the extra strokes. So let me get one thing here. So you can get this like from Amazon. So when you're not like practicing, like this will, I don't know if it's really in your head, but I know like guitar people do it and stuff like that. It will help you with your finger strength and stuff. And that's actually also where a manual machine comes into play. You could use a manual machine. Manual machine will make your fingers stronger. And so that when you do finally get that Diamante or that Luminex or that, what's the other one? The Lightspeed, then your fingers are going to be very strong, I think. And yeah, I get like that too, though. I get like that too with testing, where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting it, and then boom, now you got nothing else. Like you have absolutely nothing else, and when you're like going back to try to transcribe it, you see exactly where the point was. Like, oh, I'm getting it, and you like miss 2 or 3 questions or 2 or 3 sentences. But that's also like focus. And that's why I was talking about earlier that just as much as you practice on your machine for, you know, for practice sake, you also have to really practice your focus. And another thing I think is that you need to practice to pass tests. So, and I guess that could be a little controversial if other people hear me say this, but if like, I don't even know if I say it now, I feel bad. Like practicing to pass tests means practicing to pass tests and practicing to be a real-time writer are really not the same thing. Because, oh no, I don't think I could say it. Okay, I'll just say this. When you practice for a test, you have to practice being focused for 5 minutes. And then you also have to practice being able to strategically drop. So you already hear a hard word, just drop it, okay? If they're like, what's your address? And you're like, what, question, where do you currently reside? Answer, 19843 Southwest Michigan Avenue. All right, just drop the whole number. That whole number is just one answer anyway, but you're like 149, dun, dun. And you already know you're bad with numbers anyway, okay? And so just drop it. Don't tell anybody I said that, and I'm probably gonna delete this video just because of that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, drop it, you know? Another thing is, like, what you can't do when you're in real time is drop the question and answer. Like, you'll figure it out when you have to take that test. You don't need to hit the question bar. And if you are hitting the question bar, which I'm not saying don't hit the question bar. Yes, hit the question bar, but don't hit the question bar 2 times in a row. That's so old school. You don't need to hit the question bar twice in a row. Hit the question bar once, okay? Or even if you don't get the whole thing and you get like, you know, it's like SD BL or whatever, like even if you only hit like 7 or 4 or 5 out of those keys, you'll be able to get it. So don't ever try to go press asterisk so you can correct the cue because you messed it up, okay? And you'll be able to FOWS. I don't get it. What does that mean? It's little things like FOWS. Is that a new slang the kids are using these days? I don't know. So yeah, so just only hit the key once, and then if you have to drop it, then, you know, just frequently occurring words. Who does that? Who says that? Like, this is somebody who's saying that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I've never heard that. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Frequently occurring words. Yeah, but that's back to the speed clinic really quick. That's what the speed clinic focuses on, is is it FOWs or do I just say FOWS or FOWs? No, it's really cool. It's really cool. I'm gonna start using it. So FOWs, all right, okay, great. FOWs is that's basically everything that you're going to learn in the speed clinic. Everything is like 100% of, I don't even think I got to day 3 because I got all distracted. So in day 3, out of the other, like all of these words are super, 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 super common words that you're going to hear every single day. Okay. So day 3, what you're going to learn is a lot of stenographers do, right? Yeah. I didn't have my peruca today. So a lot of stenographers do SKP for and so now because you do that, you're able to phrase. So you can put like and remember. Remember how we learned remember on day 1? So and remember, and you remember, and you like how we did and does not, and these and those, since we're going to work on the SKP for and. So day 3 in the morning session, like the morning part, you're also going to learn because. So you could put because you remember, because you had, because you have heard, because you went, because you want to because you want to, like you're going to learn all those stuff. So a lot of people, like for some reason, drop small words like I used to. And you're not going to have to worry about that, because even if you're trying to catch up with like a really, really big word, like some medical word or something like that, you'll have enough time to like catch up, because now you have 4 words that are small. And that's basically everything that builds up the English language. Like, I mean, if you read anything, like, let me get something here. What is this from? All right, so this is actually a transcript that I worked on, and it says, so the information is within their control because it's their expert, okay? So there is nothing in this that is like a hard word, but people are still gonna drop it. And it's the small words that people are messing up on, okay? So, And the next question is, and this is a very discrete diagnosis, okay? So for this is a, I have a phrase for that. And you could have a phrase, I could have a phrase for and this, and I could also have a phrase for is a. And so normally people would do that in 4 strokes. I'm doing it in 2 strokes, and then very discrete diagnosis. And had never, I have a brief for that. Your Honor had never even heard of it before. Of it, I have a stroke for that. Heard of, I have 1 stroke for heard of. Your Honor, 1 stroke for Your Honor, had never, I already said that. So we're asking them to basically search their billing records for if they ever treated it. Okay, so we're asking, I have a brief for that. Asking them, don't have a brief for that. Search their billing records for if they, I have a brief for that. If they ever, I have a brief for that. So, but everything is just all very, very systematic. Yeah, but you, even if you're like tired of being in theory, you're still gonna have to practice theory. I mean, I still go through my theory. Like, here is my, like, let me open it here. Like, just for example, okay, like, open up this thing. Okay, so I like basically print out like the theory. So I started working as a court reporter in 2008, and I went to Mark Kingsbury School in 2014, and this is from 2015, and that's me practicing chapter 56. Okay, 25. You're not gonna be able to write it at 225 in dictation either. So that's, I mean, it's just even now I still practice my theory, because that's how what all the words are made out of. All the words are made out of theory. So you gotta, like, theory is fun. You just, yeah, it never stops. Even though I did see some court reporter on the encouraging court reporting group, like whoever is in the group is gonna know what I'm talking about, is she's like, oh, I haven't practiced for 30 years. And I'm like, but you're over here talking about, I don't know. But no, some people don't practice is an answer. But I bet you that the court reporter who doesn't practice, I bet you she doesn't have her own clients. I bet you she doesn't make 6 figures. I bet you she is not traveling all over the world. Okay. I bet you her kids are not in private school. Okay. I bet you she doesn't have attorneys that are asking for, hey, can you send such and such because I really like her. Okay. So that's one thing. And also those court reporters that are like walking around with like tennis shoes and, like, first of all, if you have like feet problem, there's a way that you could still wear tennis shoes or orthotic shoes or whatever and look professional. Okay. Like, you shouldn't show up looking like the witness. Like, no disrespect to any witnesses out there, but you really don't. Okay. So the court reporter who's showing up in flip-flops with a t-shirt with leggings on, trust me, that court reporter does not have her own clients. That court reporter is not making 6 figures. And that court reporter probably it will be the first to complain about she doesn't have enough pages. So, I mean, you could be whatever kind of court reporter you want to be, whatever court reporter you want to be, you know, but that I definitely want to be the 6-figure court reporter. And there are plenty of court reporters that make 6 figures. They're probably not the ones that are whining on the Court Reporters Vent Here Uncensored group, but there's plenty. I know one court reporter, she makes over $200,000 a year. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. There's plenty of court reporters that make plenty of money, and there's plenty of work out here because so many people are not graduating that it's this world right now is just made for court reporters. And if you practice the right way, and by the right way, I mean whatever is right for you. What might be right for me isn't maybe not right for you. But you practice the right way, you're deliberate about it. I don't see why, if you already know your theory, I don't even see why anybody who's in this chat right now cannot be out of school within a year and a half. You know, like, I mean, it's just keys that you press on the keyboard. Like, I mean, we're not asking like to do an operation over here. So, oh, and then I have this other thing, and I'm gonna put it to upload for you guys, but it's basically like my hesitation word list. So this is how that I was saying, like, you take it to the next level, and it's like fillable. So when you write all your words down, you write the English, and the reason that English is so big is because writing phrases is like where it's at. Okay, so why when you could have 4 words in one stroke, like, why have anything less than that? So you put your English over here, you put the steno over here, and you put your most important words here. Like, there are certain words that have been causing you problems since like 2012, okay? And you know who you are and you know what word I'm talking about, okay? So you put that word over here, most important. So you just take top 3. First, you put the date over here, okay? And you put the most top 3 important words over here. And then you do your fingering focus. And this is like crucial. This is how you get your real time up to speed and are very clean, because a lot of you guys, myself included, there's these fingering things that just really mess you up. So you may be messed up in like the final GT. That caused me problems for like, I don't know, maybe like a year. Okay. And you may have problems, like I have this now problem with like PLGT. Like, I'm trying to get that like right. So, you write that over here, and then that way you can now consult your finger drill book, or you can make your own finger drills, or you can just practice these 3 fingering focus over and over and over again. And then you have the concept focus. So for concept focus, this is where you put your, I'm messing up, because sometimes you're messing it up, but you're messing up a word, but it's not because you don't know how to finger it. It's just because you honestly, you just don't know how to do it. You think you know, but you couldn't even explain it to somebody. So you can't explain it to somebody, you put it over here, okay? And really, you could stop practicing once you even hit number 1 and just focus, just go right to your theory book. This has spaces over here, but you don't need to fill it up, okay? You don't need to fill it up at all. And you just keep everything into a binder. I love printing this out like 3-hole, but it's also a PDF. It's a fillable PDF. And it's color. I just have a black and white printer, but yeah, I'm gonna put it for download, but I'm probably gonna put it on, where did I have it last time? I think I'll have to either do it like on MailChimp or something, or I'll probably put it on the Encouraging Court Reporting group. So, and then also here, like, you put your notes. And so your notes is like this, it was from this dictation, or you're just remembering something, or hey, I passed this test, or go back to, dictation 5-4, 225, whatever. So that's I think it's like super important. And but yeah, I think if you're practicing and you feel like you're practicing but you're not getting any results, then you just really need to change what you're doing. And I mean, that's what it is. I mean, like, I don't know, it's crazy how we do court reporting and we I don't know why we think it's like different other things. Like, if you were like running, right? Let's say for some reason you go running every day and you don't lose weight, you would stop running, right? You would be like, but you still want to lose weight, right? So you're like, okay, running, I don't know, for some reason I keep running and, it makes my chest hurt. I think I almost sprained my ankle, and, my side is killing me, and I'm still not losing weight, but I'm wasting time. And I just bought these new running sneakers and I'm just wasting away, right? So you don't be like, oh, now I don't want to lose weight anymore because running didn't work out. No, you'd be like, let me try swimming. Let me try Pilates. Let me try dancing. Let me try a combination of all 4, okay? The thing is, if I can do it, seriously, if I can do it, I'm telling you, everybody can do it. Because, I mean, yeah, I mean, just straight up, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Anybody can be a stenographer. I 1000 believe that everybody has the physical ability to be the stenographer, but it's, do they have the mindset to become a stenographer? Meaning, are they willing to see, hey, what works and what doesn't work, and to customize it for themselves? Or do they have the mindset that, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this no matter what? And even if somebody tells me, hey, you're not meant to be a court reporter, or hey, you've been doing this for too long and nobody else, everybody else graduated or dropped out, I'm still going to do it. Once you develop that mindset, your fingers already can do it. Like, your fingers can do it, and I will battle anybody who says that they can't. And I'm not scared or scared or none of that. So I don't know if there's anything else people want me to say, because It's been a long time. I don't mind doing another Steno Chat, but I'll give more like notifications and stuff. And if you have questions and I don't know what else to say. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I guess like, wait, do I have a link for that? I don't know if I have a link for that. Anyway, if you guys, because I only posted this on Instagram anyway. So like, it was just like really raining outside and I really wanted to go out. And then I was like, I have all this makeup on for nothing. So I was like, okay, I could like really make a video, but this is actually like really, really, really fun. And like, I'd love to do this again. So, and if you guys have any questions, you can just like message me on Instagram. And like I said, people like, I talk to court reporters, like, I'm not gonna say every single day, but I would probably say I talk to at least like 2 court reporters a day. I mean, sorry, 2 court reporters like a week. I'm just seeing if any of them, oh, it stopped raining. Yeah, I probably will go out. So yeah, call me. If you want, call me. My number is on my Instagram. There's a button. You press call and it rings and my phone will ring and I will pick it up and I say, what's up? And you could call and we could talk steno and whatever. Like, I love doing it. This is like my favorite thing, like, which is so crazy because like I had dropped out of school like 3 times. And even though I graduated in under 2 years, like I just felt like all my friends are going to college and, you know, I was still 18 and I want to go to college too. And like, I am so proud that I didn't go to college. Like, I am like so happy about it. Like, big ups to everybody who did go. And like, you know, I have family who is doing college. Like my sister is, she's 27. She's about to graduate with her doctorate. And you know, now she's talking about she wants to be a professor at a research university. So nothing wrong with that. But I love being a court reporter, not having any type of student loan debt, whatever, being able to make so much money and like not even having to waste 4 years in school or feeling like, oh, like, well, I already talked about the loans. Okay, I already talked about loans and that you have a job. Like, there's most of us make more than attorneys do. They went to school for like 7 years. Okay, and I have a friend. I have a few friends that are emergency room doctors. Most emergency room doctors make about 300 a year, 300,000 a year, and but they work. They really work. And I mean, they make a mistake, they're costing somebody their life. Okay, and I don't even work half as hard as them. I probably only work a third as hard as them. I don't have to be in some nasty hospital, okay? I don't have to be around sick people like vomiting and stuff around me and bleeding and all that gross stuff, you know? And I don't have I didn't have to spend 8 years in school and I could travel wherever I want, whenever I want. Like, to get licensed in another state is super easy compared to trying to get your medical license somewhere else. Like, I'm like, yeah, you may think you're smart because you went to like college and post grad and all this other stuff, but I really feel like I'm the smart one because I feel like it's a better life. I mean, this is if anyone, court reporting is a better life. Okay, I'll just say it. Being a court reporter is probably being better than anything else. Like, there's very few careers out there that will let you be yourself, work whenever you want to work, take off whenever you want to take off, and just do whatever you want to do. Like, it's just, court reporting is better. Like, it's just so much better. Like, it's better. So yeah. So I don't think, what time is it now? Because I've been filming like for like 2 hours. Yeah, we do. We learn so much. Like, it makes me feel like when I'm like, I've taken so many neurologist depositions that I feel like I could be a neurologist. Not really, but it's like we learn so much. And what's so cool too is we get to be like around all these like cool people. Like, when you're doing like business litigation, we have a division in Miami called the Complex Business Division. And you're working with people, like the litigants are people that run multi-million-dollar businesses, multi-billion-dollar businesses. And once you become a real timer, that's where you really get to like rub shoulders, or what is it, brush shoulders with like real rainmakers, like real smart people. Like usually I go in a room when I do real-time jobs and I know I'm the least educated person in the room. And I'm okay with that because, I'm still making like 4 figures a day, and so it is what it is. But but I'm also really thankful to be around like really, really smart people. And when you're a court reporter, you get to, like, I've done a lot of divorces with like celebrities, NFL players, NBA players. I've met a lot of jump offs and baby mamas, and I've done prenuptial agreements. I've done postnuptial agreements, which is when somebody's already married but they get an asset, and they decide to talk about it before that. Yes, rappers, thoughts, all of that. It's oh no, I can't, now that's gonna get into too many details, but I did do some, this one was really good. I did some Hollywood stars. No, she's a model. Well, she does acting. I'm not gonna get into too many details, of course, but she's been in a lot of movies. I took her deposition, and I think it was this week. Was it? Yeah, it was this week. And I did a video vixen. It's funny to say I did, but I did a video vixen. She was in a lot of these music videos that are down here. Took her deposition in January. Like, you get to meet a lot of stuff, like a lot of really, really, really cool people. And what's the other thing? Like, when you have expert witnesses, it's usually like the top people in the field. So like if they're taking the expert deposition of a neurologist, it's usually like the number one neurologist like in the country. Because some of them are gonna, when they come down to Miami, like this one neurologist that I'm thinking of, which I have like a secret crush on him, he most of the time when they're taking his deposition, it's actually attorneys from out of state who come, and they've retained his services as a as an expert witness. So it's like really, 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 really cool. Like really cool. So I think this is like a way better job than I mean, I don't even know what somebody could possibly think is cooler than being a stenographer. Like, and maybe it's a little closed-minded, but straight up, like, there's nothing else that I would rather be. Except, okay, if I was not a court reporter anymore, I would just teach court reporting. And then, like, if court reporting like didn't exist whatsoever, like, I honestly, I don't know what I would do, because like I just love this field. I think it's like really, 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 it's really amazing. And like, if you're gonna be like, oh well, doctors help people. Okay, well, you help people too as a court reporter. Okay, you help it so when such and such lies on the witness stand, but said something because they said something different in depo. Okay, you're gonna help the other side. Okay, because liars shouldn't win. Okay, so you're gonna help that way. You're also gonna help if you're doing closed captioning and people are deaf, people can't hear, people maybe they're learning a different language and they need the English to help them understand. You are helping them too. If you want to provide CART, which is communication access, real-time translation, something like that, meaning you go around with somebody who's hard of hearing or who's deaf, and you are their ears. So you bring your steno machine with you, and the best thing is to give them an iPad that's connected like wirelessly to your machine, and everything that is being said, you type it for them and they could hear it. Same thing like when you're at church. Usually people go to church and there's like somebody in the corner like doing sign languages and stuff, right? But CART, stenography, real-time translation is way better than the sign language. And the reason it's way better is because every word can be written, but not every word has a sign. So if you want to be very specific, and if you even want to use a made-up term, real-time provides that, whereas sign language doesn't. And the other thing about CART and the real-time is that, let's say you can't hear, but you want to look down for a second, you could look up and then you could just read the real-time feed again. So it's actually maybe I need to learn more, but from what I've gathered is CART is definitely better. CART is definitely better for the person who's hard of hearing to understand. So I'm going to say goodnight, guys. If you guys have any questions or anything, comments, call, email, and everything else. So, bye.